creation of mortgage-backed securities in 1960, 1970, which is a really interesting parallel to look at here. There was significant deregulation in the market, and there was significant capital that was coming in and wanted to access exposure to homes. So it allowed these investors from different locations to get access to pooled houses, which brought more capital into the housing ecosystem. If you would have bought a house in the 70s and you sat on it till today, you did incredibly well. And the creation of those securities also came with different forms of yield that didn't exist before. And so now when you're managing a portfolio of assets and pensions or whatever that may be, it was a drug that everybody needed, right? Everybody needed mortgage-backed securities in their portfolio. They needed that hit of that yield. And that market went from just very, very small, like less than $1 billion to like $60 billion in 10 years. And, inflation adjusted, it's over $250 billion in that market just for mortgage-backed securities from 1970 to 1979. And so massive increase in value in just a short time horizon from 70 to 79. And then we all know what's happened from 79 on, right? Like exposure to homes and mortgage-backed securities just absolutely ripped in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and obviously led to the crash in 2008. So we're in this like golden era at the beginning of Bitcoin securitization, and everybody's looking at these products like, oh my God, it's too good to be true. It's good trending to zero, or whatever that may be. But really, this is the golden era of Bitcoin securitization, and everybody here, like the objective is make as much money as humanly possible in the next 10 years while everybody doesn't know what's going on because of the Bitcoin securitization in the market, creating a portfolio that makes sense to you. And that's where I think we're just in this like monumental period of the creation of these securities that nobody really understands yet, or they don't understand how big and how important these can be yet. And anybody that's been studying Bitcoin and following along Bitcoin for, the last 12, 24, 36, 5 years, whatever that may be, you understand the power of Bitcoin. Now you throw in this traditional financial ecosystem and the power of being able to structure finance, and we're going higher.
Welcome back to the channel. That was Jeff from the True North Group, and he was discussing how MSTR is very similar to when the mortgage-backed securities got started back in the 70s, and how if you get in early, you can make a lot of money over a long period of time. Really interesting perspective there. And we're going to be getting into strategy today. Going to be looking at some Bitcoin news. Going to go over the Bitcoin price prediction I was looking at earlier in the year, back in January. A little bit of a prediction. We're going to look back over that and see how that's been doing. But we can see right now, strategy up at 381, up 3% today. This is market close. And if you see the returns over the past 3 months, strategy is up 12%. Over the past year, up 200%. And the BSC return is up 3,000% there. They now have 553,555 Bitcoin. And just want to show you this interesting chart here. This is the 3-month return for strategy and some other assets. A lot of the other assets are down over the past 3 months, but you can see strategy has performed pretty well, up 12%, even while Bitcoin has been down 8%. So that's a pretty good stat there to see that MicroStrategy has been very strong throughout this period of a downtime in the traditional markets. And a bit of an update, we do have Strategy's earnings call. That is going to be Thursday. You can check it out. The earnings call will be at 5 p.m. EST. Watch out for that. We may get some interesting details from Saylor about what's going to be happening next from Strategy, so make sure to watch out for Thursday there, a pretty big day. And then Strategy will hold their 2025 annual meeting on the same day as GameStop on June 12th, 2025. We may see GameStop come on and say, hey, we've been buying Bitcoin. We have billions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin. We bought it at 80K. Now Bitcoin's at whatever it is in June. And that could look really good for GameStop, and that could really make the stock price go up. So some more key dates to watch out for there, June 12th, 2025. And then I wanted to get into the Bitcoin price model that I created back in January. Gave a Bitcoin prediction of around 150,000 by the end of this year. So you can come in here and see how we're doing. So just to recap, this shows the Saylor Bitcoin buys in 2024, which was around 22 billion. And then the Bitcoin ETF buys in 2024. This includes all that GBTC selling that we saw, was 35.35 billion for a total of 57.35 billion from just those two players last year in 2024. And if you look at the Bitcoin market cap, January 1st of 2024 versus what it was at the end of the year, it was 865 billion at the beginning of 2024. By the end of the year, it was at 1.85 trillion. So that was around a $1 trillion increase. So looking at this increase here and comparing it to the total number of dollars that flowed into Bitcoin, we can see that we get a multiplier effect on the market cap of around a 17x compared to that $57 billion that came in. So that's obviously, this model is obviously not 100% correct because there are other players who were buying Bitcoin at the same time last year in 2024, but these were probably the biggest two buyers of Bitcoin last year. But then looking at 2025, this is the potential strategy buys in 2025 at around 25 billion. This is what I guesstimated at the beginning back in January. It does look like we're on track to hit 25 billion by the end of the year. We're currently at $10 billion at the end of April. So 25 billion is definitely not out of the cards there, but the ETFs are definitely lagging at around $3 billion. And I projected around 40 billion going in through the ETFs this year. Right now, we're at a total of 13 billion for these two, and the price is currently at 95K. One thing I do want to note around these ETF buys, these can turn around very quickly. So if we look at what the ETFs did between the days of April 21st to the 25th, they bought around $3 billion of Bitcoin that week. So when the market is ecstatic and people are not as fearful in the traditional markets, we tend to see these ETF players come in and really buy the Bitcoin ETFs at a high volume. 3 billion in 1 week. If we keep that up for the rest of the year, we're definitely going to get back above that 40 billion mark that I projected if we hit 3 billion every single week. So this can turn around really quick for these ETFs. And I think if Saylor does stay on track of what he's been doing for the first half of the year, I think we can get up to 25 billion. If Bitcoin's price tends to go up, he can definitely do more than 25 billion, but that is yet to be seen. So that would be a $65 billion inflow, which I think is definitely possible from these two players. And also take note, these are not the only two players that are buying Bitcoin right now. There's definitely a lot more companies, corporations coming in and buying BTC, but these are probably still going to be the biggest buyers this year. And we can see the multiplier effect of that $65 billion coming in would be around $1.12 trillion from the market cap at the beginning of the year. That would put Bitcoin's price at around 150K, which I don't think is out of the cards for the end of the year, especially if we can start to see these ETFs start to rebound and continue to see Saylor continue to do what he's been doing all year round. But also talking about other companies buying Bitcoin, I want to go ahead and check out some of these here. Let's go ahead and take a look. We have Japanese fashion brand ANAP Holdings. They just purchased 35 Bitcoin and they're now holding 51.6579 BTC. They announced adopting the corporate Bitcoin treasury strategy on April 16th, referring to Bitcoin as digital gold. So just more companies putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet there. We also have the 9 Limited, another company. They just bought 285 Bitcoin. They now hold $27 million worth of Bitcoin. They've been holding this since March 30th. So another company that is buying BTC. This is a smaller company. They're only a $111 million market cap company. But this is a Chinese company. The Republic of China is where they are headquartered at. And then we have Smarter Web UK. They unveiled their 10-year growth plan and their Bitcoin treasury strategy. The UK listed firm has disclosed 2.30 Bitcoin purchased at $98,000 each, and they plan to expand both organically and through acquisitions. So just another company there that's going to be buying more Bitcoin. So you can see there is a real Bitcoin gold rush going on right now. And also the state of Arizona, we mentioned this in one of our previous videos, but you can see here, Governor Hobbs just needs to sign the bill into law for Bitcoin to actually be purchased by the state of Arizona, and they're going to be holding it as a strategic reserve asset. One thing with Governor Hobbs is she is known to veto bills, especially coming from the Republican side. This bill was Republican introduced, so this bill may be vetoed by Governor Hobbs. More to come on that, but we'll see over the next week or so if she decides to sign this into law or not. And if she does, Arizona will be the first state to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And then we have another huge company. We've talked about them before, but 21 Capital, they will be trying to acquire Bitcoin. They're going to start off with 40K BTC. And there's a clip I want to play for you guys in a second here with Jack Mallers discussing 21 Capital. But leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think 21 Capital even has a chance at competing with Strategy? Because they're kind of hinting at in this clip here that they'll be able to do it differently than any other company. They'll be able to get more Bitcoin than anyone else. So let me know what you guys think. My personal opinion is I don't think anybody's catching Strategy. They're way too far ahead. They've been doing this for 4 years. They have more than 500,000 Bitcoin. And I don't think anybody's catching them anytime soon. But leave your thoughts about 21 Capital in the comment section below. And this is good for Bitcoin, guys. This is going to make Bitcoin's price go up. So when you see Bitcoin's price go up because of this, this is good for Strategy. This is good for every Bitcoin proxy, for every new company that comes in and is buying Bitcoin like them. It's going to be good for the rest of every Bitcoin proxy. So let me know what you guys think about them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe for more. Let's go ahead and check out this clip.
Market, or the opportunity rather, that we've identified is to be a pure play Bitcoin business. We want to be the ultimate vehicle for the capital markets to participate in Bitcoin. And so that's not only accessing the capital markets to raise accretive Bitcoin denominated capital and grow something like Bitcoin per share through fundraising, but also building Bitcoin native business lines and business models. I think, as Tether and myself co-founding the business as partners, we have a lot of experience and success in our other business ventures in finding high margin, high growth opportunities. And we hadn't seen anyone that was using access to the capital markets, access to a massive Bitcoin balance sheet, extend that opportunity beyond just buying Bitcoin and actually building on top of Bitcoin. So we are a Bitcoin business at our core. It's at our founding. It's in our name. It's on our board. It's at our leadership. We build Bitcoin products. We're focused on Bitcoin cash flow, and then obviously an ability to accumulate Bitcoin through capital market fundraising and grow our Bitcoin per share. So we are as pure play a Bitcoin opportunity in the capital markets as we think exists. And that is what sets us apart from everyone.